Hello and welcome along to the start of our first full season at Tottenham Hotspur from this FM21 series, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's part 75 today and we are back for a big transfer special. And as the title suggests, it's probably not as positive as we'd hoped for. What we've sort of encountered with Tottenham, despite being a second Premier League club and one that's got much bigger stature, has been in Europe more frequently. We've had the same financial troubles. A fire sale has occurred, and we've sort of been getting in the cheap replacements. A couple of them very good, a couple we've struck lucky, but still, overall, an alarming situation. So if you want to find out more about our transfer window and are looking forward to the season ahead, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video, subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from two long-term stories. We've got our transfer special and the start of our European campaign in our Build a Nation with Bangor tomorrow too. If my timing's right, I should have just done my first live stream over on Twitch this weekend, and you can catch up with the link to that in the description below. And thank you so much as always for your incredible support. It really does mean a lot. But the other problem we've got today, if we go back and focus on Tottenham, is that it's also an Olympic year. So we're missing a couple of our best players, or a couple of our signings, due to them being away with their under-23s, as you can see in the Tottenham team news. And we've still got the injury to a Yildiz, which was picked up towards the end of last season. So we're not in a perfect position at the moment, but we're still hopeful, because despite the fire sale, despite the huge profit made by the club in the summer, there is still a good squad here. So let's firstly have a look at that finances screen, because the bank balance here is now 142 million. Despite that, we're only getting 35% of transfer revenue. I've no idea what they're saving for, although looking at previous years, their money has dipped throughout the season just as quickly. Having said that, last season they weren't in Europe. This season we're in the Europa League, so it's not going to cover all of the wages, but will make an impact. But the other thing we've also got to bear in mind is the fact that the director of football has sold a lot of the biggest earners and a lot of the experienced backup players. We've got a slightly smaller squad at the moment, but we've still not got a weaker one, I would say. We're just relying a bit more on youth rather than experience. So a year of transition, we'll be hoping we can do well in one of the cups and maybe challenge for the top four. But the key is to make sure it's Europe again and top six for the Premier League. So let's go and have a look at our transfers and see what's been done, because I mean a fire sale when I say it. There are loads of players going out. So let's skip back to the end of last season first. There's one sign in there and there's also one out. So the out is a big one. Dominic Solanke goes to Leicester for £26 million. An incredible loss, an incredibly poor signing. The director of football signed him for 49 million less than a year earlier. He didn't score a goal, made about 9 appearances, threw his toys out the pram, and then got sold for 26. So for as good as our director of football's rated, that will go down as one of his maybe less favourable moments. He was replaced pretty much like for like financially by Salvatore Esposito. Now 25 million up front, rising to 31. He's a central midfielder. So at the time I was a little bit worried because we've got a lot of them at the club. We still had Ryan Wright unhappy. We had a couple of players who were promised a move in the summer. So we were intrigued to see, was he actually going to sell them, or were we going to be left with 100 centre mids? Our fears have been allayed slightly on that front, but a 3-star ability Italian international, he's a good solid squad player. He could be one of the sort of leads of the backup team, if you know what I mean. So he could be one of the stars in the Europa League, one of the stars in the Cup to get us through those earlier games. And hopefully he can be a good squad player when called upon for the first team too, because he hasn't really got a weakness in his game. He's just perhaps not that golden stardust you'd want from a world-class player. But very good, very happy. And also, if he's going to be on the bench for the Premier League, he's a defensive mid. So if we're clinging on against the top side, we can take off the number 10, bring him on as a holding midfielder. He does give us options that we didn't previously have. So that's pretty much a break-even. One in, one out there. There was a youngster who came in from Leeds who isn't very good, quite frankly. And he's not got a good personality either. But in terms of the window so far there, fairly happy. We knew we got Thomas Parks and a couple of the youngsters coming back up front, so I wasn't worried about that. But let's have a look at the finances since the turn of the season. There you go. 134 million out. In fact, Solanke's on that screen as well for some reason, so that's not quite fair. So that would be what? 108 million out, 38 million in, and a budget left of 22 million, which leaves us sort of £50 million short in terms of profit. So that means that the board are keeping a lot of money spare in reserve. But let's have a look at the players that have gone out. A lot of the under-23 squad have gone out on loan. We're not going to look at them in too much detail. But if we go through the first teamers, Jovo Kelesevic is the first one that went out. 11.25 million to Newcastle. He's a good centre midfielder, but he wasn't good enough for us. A 2-star ability, 3-star potential, and at 24 he hadn't unlocked it. So given the players that were coming in, given his weaknesses, which are evident in the game, it made sense for him to go, and it's a decent fee as well. We also sold the backup keeper Esneida Suarez. Our director of football got £6 million from Hamburg. He wasn't a very good backup and he was on a big wage. So you can see already he's replaced him with Freddie Woodman, who we'll look at in a moment. But that's not a bad deal in my book. The one who was promised to move in the summer was Dele Alli. He's gone to Sheffield United for £11.5 million up front, potentially rising to 15. He's 32 and he did have an impact in some of the big games last season, but he was on 175 grand a week. And those are the sort of people we had to get off the wage bill. Solanke was on 100. He's on 175. There's a couple more further down that were on big money too. Casemiro, who's just gone out on loan. So it is really about sort of reducing that wage bill to a sustainable level. And I think the director of football has probably had instruction from the chairman there. But overall, we're delighted to get a good fee for a 32-year-old. But Dele Alli will be a good player for Sheffield United. So it's a shame he's left us, but it was his choice in the end. Leon King is the biggest sale of the summer. He was now 5th choice centre-half, because we had one who came back from a loan deal last year who was just as good. So King was never really getting a look in. Again, was on 75, 80 grand a week. And Hertha Berlin offered £30 million. He's a good player. He's a very good centre-half. I think he was a Rangers youngster before. But we couldn't reject that money for a 5th choice. And the director of football agreed. So he accepted the offer. And Leon King goes off to the Bundesliga. Bruno Pimenta is one of the quality youngsters who came back from loan up front. There were 3 of them, including Thomas Parks, who we knew about already. I'd argue stats-wise, Pimenta was the best. But unfortunately, the director of football sold him on. He was the only one who wasn't homegrown, so I understand it to an extent with Europe. But he sold him for 24 million, and he's now worth 36. He has managed to get a 30% of profit sell-on clause, so we will potentially get money in for him in the future. But I thought he would have been a good one to keep around. I had him listed as my first backup up front. But obviously that's not to be now. So that's the difficulties with the head coach. You plan one thing and then another player sold. So we've actually had to change our striker tactic. The first teamer who surprised us by leaving right at the end though, director of football sold Pierluigi Gallini. And not only did he sell him, sold him to Southampton, our former club. 24 million up front, rising to 31.5. He was a solid goalkeeper, but it was an area we said we'd like to improve the squad. And let's be fair, our director of football's done that. We'll go and take a look at the other guy in a minute, but for the same price, he's got a better replacement. And with that in mind, we can't be too disappointed. A good goalkeeper, Gallini was solid for us, and he now strengthens one of our former clubs. Although I'm not sure why they've signed him, given the fact they've got a brilliant young keeper in Luiz, and they've got Odysseus, unless they've sold one of them on. We might take a look later on. So a surprising one there, followed up by the complete opposite of that. Casemiro back from loan, now 36 years of age. He was loaned out to Anderlecht, 90% of his wages paid, which means we're only contributing 10 grand a week. And to be honest, that's a fairly good deal for him. Physically, he's not ready to play Premier League football. He might have been able to do the odd game in Europe for us, but it wouldn't have been a sort of high quality impact. It would have been a squad player. So you can sort of see the theme that's gone on this summer. If we actually look at the ins, bar Esposito, who was in the last chunk we looked at, there's only here 2 goalkeepers and a lone player. So there's not really huge improvements. Players like Leon King have been replaced by a player coming back from loan. Dominic Solanke replaced by players coming back from loan. Dele Alli replaced by a loan player. Pimenta not really replaced. Casemiro not replaced. So it is just a trimming of the squad. But let's look at the 3 more that have come in anyway, taking a total to 4. Freddie Woodman is first. A backup goalkeeper who's of course homegrown in the nation. Slightly bigger wage than Suarez, but a better keeper and a similar price. So at 31, we've got to be happy with that. He actually has to start today because the other keeper who we signed is on international duty. So our director of football hasn't thought about that very well. But either way, he's a good goalkeeper. He's a solid number 2. And I'm really happy with that bit of work. At Swansea in real life, doing a decent job and chasing promotion in the Championship. And he's sort of just that level of goalkeeper. So he'll play in the Europa League for sure. Julian Marchand comes in on loan. A cheap solution to the Dele Alli sale. He's from Leicester. 165 grand is the loan fee. And it's 14 grand a week in wages. It's hardly a big output for the club. 2.5 star ability. Can play centre mid or an attacking mid. Just a solid backup. There's not much more to it. He's a decent Premier League player. Again, for Europe, he'll probably make an impact. But I guess financially it shows where the club is. We're loaning players from a mid-table club. And that's something we've got to be wary of for the future. The final signing though is the big one so far. Loic Willems has come in from Club Bruges. £30 million rising to 32.5. But you've got to hand it to him. He's probably, I would imagine, the best young goalkeeper in the world. He's a wonder kid. He's 19 years of age. He's a Belgian international. He's playing in the Olympics for the 23s at the moment. And he's 3.5 star ability, 4.5 potential. He's an exquisite keeper. Commanding in the air, which is important in the Premier League. Handling, reflexes, distribution, all exceptional. Good one-on-ones. Doesn't like rushing out too much, but we'll have him as a sweeper keeper on a more defensive duty. He's determined. He's a perfectionist. He's brilliant physically. He's almost the perfect goalkeeper. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful signing. And he's taken them to the Olympics final, Belgium, which is why he's so late back. And you've got to say to the director of football, to get rid of Galini at 33 and get this guy in at 19 for a similar price, albeit he'll probably need half a year to adapt, is just stunning. What's his languages? He's not got any English, so that might be the only problem at the start. But a wonderful, wonderful signing, and big props to our director of football for that one. If we go and have a look at what's happening in a transfer centre at the moment, though, there is one more potentially going out, and that man is Ngueba, the backup right back who's very good but doesn't suit our tactic. An offer had been accepted for 12.5 million from Espanyol, which isn't a lot of money. He's rejected a few others by the looks of it. But Ngueba, he's worth 17.5, so I'm a bit surprised by that. It is still a slight profit for the club on what they paid for him, but a little bit of a weird one. However, in his place, they've got a bid in for a couple of right backs. So hopefully by the next episode, we'll have another exciting signing to introduce. If it's anything like the keeper, I'll be happy. But it looks like it might be a slightly more experienced one at the moment. So that's what we've done this summer so far. Let me know what you think of our director of football's work. It's definitely aimed at a fire sale and a trimming of the squad. But I wouldn't say we're any weaker. And I think given the fact that we've made a nearly £100 million profit, that's a pretty good sign. And I think he signed well with the budget he's had. So I've got to give him a fair bit of credit. We've had an excellent pre-season, winning all the games. You'd expect it in some of them. But we've battered Olympiacos. We beat Ajax comfortably. And we've beaten a side you'd expect. So good sign so far. We've got Southampton, the third game of the season, our former club. We won't show that one again. But we have got an exciting end to the transfer window to come. So let's go and get into the first game of the season. It is Brighton at home. And let's see what tactical changes we've had to make based on the squad we've got. A very quick side note you can see in the fixtures here. Derby have been promoted. They beat Newcastle in the playoff final. So there are 3 of our head coach clubs, our current one and 2 former ones, all fighting it out in the Premier League this season. But let's go and have a look at our tactic today. United have beaten City in the derby. They are the dominant force in English football at the moment. In fact, if I show you the Premier League, just so you can see, they've won it 3 of the last 4 years. Liverpool competing with them. Nobody else in touching distance. So at a limit, I think 3rd is our expectation for the next couple of years. And we're focused on the other competitions. But let's go and get into this one. We're facing Brighton. And to be honest, I think bar the goalkeeper we're as strong as we can be at the moment. I'm a little bit worried about right back still. We haven't got the quality in there yet. We've still got Neres out injured. Soden, one of the youngsters who's come back from loan, he's suspended at the moment. And Ayildi's not quite fit again yet. We've got Tommy Parks back as well. He was out on loan at Sheffield United. We looked at him when we joined the club. And Morato, he's the other one who's come back from loan and is part of the first team squad. But to be honest, the priority today is just to try and get as few new players into the team as possible, so we've got that continuity, to test a slightly different tactical style, albeit in the same formation, and to try and get a win on the first day of the season, of course. After this game, we've got the week off to Leicester, so it's not an immediate turnaround, though I am wary that Marchand won't be able to play in that game. So if anyone needs a rest later on, we'll make sure we get him on the pitch. But the starting lineup for today, the only brand new debut from the start will be Freddie Woodman, who starts in goal. That's only because the other keeper who would have made his debut is in the Olympics final. And I've brought Smith back in for Mendes at left back, who will be first choice this year, just to give him another chance to steal the shirt, as he is the best left back at the club. What we've done tactically though, is we've just changed to a slightly narrower version of the 4-2-3-1. So most things are still the same, but we're going to play out from the back, we're going to focus our play through the middle, we're going to try and work it into the box so we have better chances rather than just lots of shots. We're going to up the tempo, shorten the style of passing, and we're also going to try and press extremely high. So it's something we worked into with Bangor City in the Build a Nation save. And this squad now is fit enough, it's strong enough, and it's big enough to be able to do that. And with Europe and lots of centre midfielders available in the squad, I'm not worried about pushing the squad to do it. As you can see, even with a couple of injuries and international duties, we've still got strength in depth. So bar getting a right back, I'm happy with this squad. Boga's playing off the left today because of the Yildiz injury and because of Neres being out too. But otherwise, we're fairly strong, we're fairly happy, and we couldn't ask for much more really. So we've got an inverted winger off the right. We've also dropped Perea to a deep lying forward, which, given his attributes and the fact that he's basically Messi-esque in terms of quality, we've got to give him that opportunity to get the ball and drive at people. And if he gets more assists than goals, it doesn't matter, as long as the other people are getting on the end of it. I'm still worried about Ryan Wright's unhappiness. Everything else looks good though. So our lineup for today is Freddie Woodman, the new keeper, in goal. Sina and Smith, the fullbacks, with Longley and Siyuncu at centre-half. Reina and Montalval in the middle. Santos, Boga and Wright, the attacking midfield three. And Perea up front, the star striker. And we need him in form today. So a start to the new season. Not much change in the 11, but certainly a change in style. Will it pay off though? Let's go and find out. And let me know what you think in the comments. Well, still a couple of originals in the Brighton team. White, Lamptey and McAllister. Lamptey was linked with us ironically as the right back solution, so I wonder if he'll be one of the ones they consider replacing with. Ethan Leake's on the bench. We had him at Hibs briefly, and Dean Henderson's still there in goal. Amiri's a good player, Kuznetsov's a good player for them. So it's a decent Brighton squad. It's a solid Premier League one. What we've got to do is try and get on top, because these are the sort of games, to be a regular top 6 side, we have to win, and we have to win without problems. Well, it's been a quiet first quarter. We've dominated the chances, but not seen any on camera, as Boga gets it on the left to the byline. Cuts it back to Montalval, into Perea, back to Wright. That's what we want Perea for. Deft touches, assists and goals. Not just his own chances, but creating others as well. I'm going to change Boga to an inverted winger, because I feel that will give us more room out wide. But a wonderful start to the season. Wright's unhappiness not affecting his performances now, and Perea playing that game we want him to. As a deep line forward, I feel he could be deadly this year, even if his goal tally actually ends up being lower. And we're back again as Siyuncu's playing out from the back. I presume that's from a goal kick looking at where we are. Santos picks it up on the right, and as that inverted winger, he charges into the pitch towards the centre halves. Goes back in the end to Montalval. He's starting ahead of Esposito today. They're basically vying for the jersey. But Montalval is more connected into this team. He's a bit more settled after being here 6 months. As the ball finds its way into Boga. Oh, it's a delightful effort. Tried to chip Henderson. It was a brilliant... You could see the vision. You could see what he was trying to do. But it was tipped over the bar. And Reina will take the corner. Had a brilliant pre-season. His corners caused chaos. Henderson flaps. It's cleared away by the defender. It's out for another corner kick on the right-hand side this time. It's going to be an outswing up from Reina. Giovanni Reina puts it in. It's headed away by Tajani. Kuznetsov will get there first, will he? He challenges Longley and it's out for a throw. But we've got another corner with Reina now. Back straight away as Santos loses out in the air. It's been a brilliant half from Tottenham. I'm a bit sad it's only 1-0, but it's been a brilliant performance. As Perea gets it left side of the box, tries to turn creator again, it's a good sliding challenge. Back to him on the left wing, into Santos. Headed away from him, but only as far as Sina, who's backing up on that right byline. To Reina, into Santos. Turns the defender, can he shoot? Back to Reina instead. It's a great save from Henderson. Boga gets it, back to Reina for a third time. His shot's blocked to Sina. And Aitor gets the challenge in, hacks it out for a throw. And the only question is, why is it only 1-0? But a wonderful display. You can see the game plan in effect. And pre-season is rolling into the games for real. But while it's only 1-0, you never know. So let's tell the lads to keep it up and hope we get a quick second. And see, this is why we're nervous. 2 minutes into the second half, Brighton with a throw by the corner flag, attacking down the right. Brilliant challenge from Boga though. Plays a 1-2 with Montalval, who was out supporting him. Wonderful switch of play to release Santos. I've just tweaked him to an attacking duty to give him more licence to run at the defence. He does just that and then finds Perea, who's drifted back and wide. Out to Sina, the right back. There's 4 in the middle. Has to find the delivery. Does to Santos. And he heads just wide of the post. But a lovely counter-attack. More great football. We've just got to take those chances. That's all that's missing at the moment. As Gardner picks it up in the middle for Brighton. Sina intercepts the switch of play. Reina releases him again as he charges down the right. Santos up with him. He's got 2 inside. Beats the defender himself. Finds Wright. 1-2 with Sina, the right back. To the byline. Chance to deliver. Block to Wright. Back to Perea. And this time he finishes it himself. 1 goal, 1 assist. The new role is working. And surely this is going to be a positive start for Spurs. I mean, none of those new signings are integrated yet. Esposito's on the bench. Marchand's on the bench. The new keeper's on international duty. The right back's yet to come. But even so, it looks very, very good. On the right wing, I think we're going to go for Marchand on this occasion. He's not hugely natural there, but he can play as a winger. Just gives us an extra option and also rest someone for next week, because Marchand can't play against Leicester. Giovanni Reina and Ryan Wright both a little bit tired. So we'll leave it 5 more and then we'll make a couple of extra changes. I want to try and get the youngsters in, so either Parks or LaMonaco. We'll wait and see how that pans out. With 20 minutes to go, it looks fantastic. And we're going to go and make a couple more. I don't want to disrupt the flow too much. But what I'm going to do, Perea, he can't really play anywhere else, which is a bit of a surprise. He'd suit a number 10 down to the ground. Bogle will stay in because he probably won't start next week. I'm going to replace the 2 star midfielders. So Ryan Wright will be replaced by, I think, Parks. And Esposito will go on for Rayner. Now I know that Parks is better up front than Perea. And I know Perea's not got that rating. But his attributes mean he should be brilliant. So we're just going to give him a go there. Parks suits being a deep line forward. It's that target man style, holding the ball up. So let's see how we get on. It's been a wonderful display. We're really enjoying ourselves. We've just got to make sure we don't slip up. As in the middle, Brighton pick it up with Mofi. The strikers drop deep. He goes back to Amiri in centre mid. A very good player at this level. Switches it to the right hand side to Ethan Leak off the bench. One of our former players, but Montalval intercepts. Back to Tijani, the Brighton centre half. To Ben White. To Amiri. We don't want to let them get in behind here. If they give it a grandstand finish, we could be in trouble. And they've got in behind Aaron Smith, the left back. It's into Moffey who scores. And that's my one concern with Aaron Smith at left back. He can't defend, even though his attributes are brilliant for it. He just can't defend. And now a game where we've been brilliant throughout is going to a grandstand finish with 10 to go. And it never should have got to this. As Boga's going down the left-hand side again. Lose it out to Shijani and it's cleared downfield for Brighton. Aaron Smith picks it up though. And going forward he much prefers it, so hopefully he'll do well. Finds Boga with a good pass to Perea. Out to Smith on the left. Wonderful vision. Into Marchand. Off the crossbar. I thought it was in. Underside of the bar and dropped in front of the line. But the concern for me is if we play like this and it's only 2-1, surely it's going to go wrong at another time. As Aaron Smith throws in again to Perea. Plays a 1-2. Over the top towards Boga on the left. Hopefully we can wrap it up here in stoppage time. He's got Perea behind him. Finds him on the edge. Inside to Smith. That's a lovely finish from the left back. No doubts about him going forward. He's wonderful at that side of the game. And it's Spurs 3, Brighton 1. Perea with 2 assists now. And that number 10 role, he might well be able to make it his if we can train him there. A wonderful performance, 3 points in the bag. And as we said, we think we've got a good squad despite the fire sale. And hopefully that's proven it there. What a look that is, eh? Make the most of it while it lasts. Tottenham top of the Premier League on goal difference. Albeit half the games haven't been played yet and United won away at City. But still, we'll make the most of it for the first day. I did just want to check Southampton because of those signings. Just to see if they've sold any of the keepers with Galini. They've sold Odysseus for £3 million. But he's just as good as Galini. I don't get that. That's odd, to say the least. They've loaned Tayo out. They've loaned Rodriguez out. They've loaned Nani out. They've sold Perez for big money to Brighton, who he played today. That's a very strange window from Southampton. Just going back to the end of last year, they signed Lloyd Kelly as well. So a very interesting summer for them. Brendan Rodgers reshaping the squad at that level. But a wonderful start to the season for us. Let's go and have a look at the schedule. I think we're going to come back at the end of September because we've got 2 massive games there. We should really have a good start to the season because we've got a start of 7 games that is largely very favourable. OK away to Leicester, they've got a world-class striker. OK away to Villa, they're a decent side. But after that, it's at home to City and away to Liverpool. Of course, if we get a massive side in the Europa League to start, then we will show that first. But a chance to get back into European football, get in the swing, and really play some massive games in the Premier League. But let me know in the comments what you thought of that transfer window. If you did enjoy the episode and the first game of the season, please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from 2 long-term stories. Please do catch up with all the playlists in the eye above, as well as the transfer special coming tomorrow from Bangor City. And please do follow us on Twitch as well. Lots of content to come from there in the future. And a massive thank you for your continued support. But a big thanks for watching and following along as we start a brand new season with Tottenham. And I hope to see you next time for big Premier League games and a return to the Europa League. We're back at the big time. Now can we chase a trophy? I'll see you next time.